How are you doing? Right, let's get on with it. So if you're watching this on replay, let me know, that'd be really good. Put your comments in, ask your questions, then I can reply to them. But I want to cover this subject of why people underprice themselves and continue to underprice themselves, even though they're in real pain. They haven't got enough money to look after their lives. They feel like a failure. They can't look after their family in the way they want to. And they hate it. And I've had 3 conversations in the last 24 hours where this is a core problem. But guess what? They still hadn't wanted to fix it. So why? So the title is basically how to stop underpricing and undervaluing yourself to start with, and then underpricing yourself. So if you're wanting the big magical answer, this is how you do it. Well, the answer is stick your prices up. That's how you stop underpricing yourself. But then you go, oh, that's not good enough. But that's actually really the answer. So I'm going to give you an example. A client of mine was pricing their service, their program, at £500 for the program. When we finished working on them, they immediately, and this is a few weeks, this is just a few weeks, they put their price up to £1,500. And then I spoke to them, it's gone up to £1,800. So why did it go from £500 to £1,800 and people still bought it? Because people always ask that question. The simple answer is because that's the price it always should have been. They were underpricing themselves. So the answer is very simple. You just put your prices up to what they should be. So that gives us a clue to the real problem, which is you're undervaluing yourself, so therefore you end up underpricing. Now, then lots of people will then start to say, yeah, but the market is this, so I won't get clients with that. And that's when we get the real clue, when we start to hear what people say, which is fear, excessive fear. So the problem of underpricing is usually a fear-based one. And now people are going to go, oh, it's that mindset stuff again. Well, mindset or thinking precedes every process, everything we do, every action, every how. People want to know how to do something. Well, if you are not valuing yourself and what you do, and I see this all the time all over Facebook, how do I price my product, my service? Well, it's basically, this is the equation. How much it is worth to your client minus how much you doubt yourself. And I was working with somebody yesterday and they had this problem, and this person is very, very successful. They've got thousands of clients, they've had thousands of clients, but they consistently underprice themselves. So their revenue is not where it should be. And while we were working and finding out why, they did not want to answer my questions. They didn't want to uncover the truth that would help them the most. And that is the problem. They were sabotaging their pricing structure. And they did not want to find out why. Now they did, that's why we're now working together. So this is the, on one hand they want to solve it, and on the other hand they do not. So have you ever seen people debating life? Should I do this or should I do that? Should I have Chinese or Indian tonight? Should I go to this place or go to this place? This is normal decision making, and you see people waving their arms around, or you'll see them do this. And they're thinking. And then when you watch them change their thinking and they're looking at it from a different point of view, they'll do that. And you'll see them go from one side to another. You'll see people do this all the time. It's universal language of thinking. So when you're having a debate inside your head, you see people waving their hands around, or they see them doing this, or you see them moving from one leg to another. And that means you're debating. And that's good. That's how we make decisions. That's how we make decisions. So when we are underpricing ourselves, it's because there's a part of our thinking that says no. This bit says this is what my program is worth, and this says no, it's not. So how do you put your prices up to where they should be? Well, you turn this off. This is the mindset stuff. Now, one of the things I get all the time is I'm working on changing my mindset. Oh boy, how many times have I heard that? If you're working on changing your mindset, it means you haven't changed it. It means it's still active. And I get so frustrated because, and this is after years of working with, watching people working on and working on and working on for years and years and years, decades even, no exaggeration, that they're working on changing their mindset, changing their thinking. Let's get rid of the mindset word, changing their thinking to allow themselves to charge what they're worth. But my client yesterday, they did not want to answer the question, and this is the reason why. This is getting closer to the real solution. This sabotage thinking thinks it's helping you, and it does. I know that sounds crazy, yeah, but I promise you it's true. It wants to sabotage your thinking because it's fearful of the consequences of putting your prices up. It's fearful of it, excessively fearful. So the real you knows that you should be charging this level. This doesn't want you to put them up because of, and the because of is what you need to find. Very, very acutely and exactly, you need to find the reason. And everybody's reason is different. So with the people I was speaking to yesterday, there was 3 different people. One person had 3 reasons from their past why putting their prices up would be a threat. Another person had 2, and another person had a single very strong one. And I never know until I start working with them, but every single person in the back of their head knew exactly why they were not doing it. But they didn't want to go and look for 2 reasons. Firstly, it means they would then have to act. And to that part of the brain, that's scary. So it tries to sabotage you from clearing the sabotage. So this is why my clients want to work with me, but don't. And as one of them was yesterday, they said, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. And the reason it was the hardest thing they've ever done is because they didn't want to go and find the real reason, because then they'll have to confront all their fears and doubts and crap from their past. But once they did, it was like, is that it? Now I understand. So that's the first reason. And the second reason is, which is very linked, is we don't want to have to do the hard stuff. So what we do is we look for the easy thing, and we do all the quick fix stuff, all the marketing changes, all the messaging changes, and what's the latest thing, and can I get on Clubhouse because that's going to solve my problems. So what we do is, human beings like the easy route. But the easy route, and this goes back to a post I put up a while ago, the easy route may not be the best route. But actually, once you've gone through that painful thing of literally going, I don't want to look at what it is. Oh, is that it? And that's what happens. So we trick ourselves into maintaining the sabotage, and that's what keeps people working on it and working on it and working on it. And as someone said to me yesterday, this has cost me hundreds of thousands of pounds. Hundreds of thousands, when it didn't need to, and that's the problem. So why do we underprice ourselves? Because we're fearful of what that means. If we put ourselves up to this level, what would that mean? Now, once this is removed, we just, as my client did, went from 500 to 1800 in a very short period of time. They went from 500 to 1500, then I spoke to them and they whacked another 300 quid on top of it, because that's the real value of what they do. So if you are watching this thinking, I'm underpricing myself, the real you knows you're underpricing yourself. This mechanism of thinking, which is it's an over-exaggeration of a survival mechanism that comes from our evolutionary background. It's been triggered off and exaggerated by past events. Yeah, being told you're not good enough, people not believing in you, you messing up and losing loads of money, whatever it is. So we think it's about not losing money and not losing clients, but it's not that. It's really about, how can I protect my emotions by not acting? When you're screaming at yourself going, I'm undervaluing myself, I'm not charging the right amount of money, and I can't take my kids on holiday where I want to take them once we get out of COVID. I can't buy what I want to buy. I'm in financial problems, not because of your lack of skills, it's because you do not want to take the risk of changing this. Which comes to a post I put up yesterday. And it's also another post I put up, when it all ties together. There's a post I put up yesterday, which was about uncertainty. People saying about, people don't tackle things because of uncertainty. Human beings are programmed to not like things that we don't know, which then could be scary. And that is absolutely true. This is part of our survival mechanism, saying that could be dangerous. Now that's good. But when that gets exaggerated, that becomes a massive problem, and this is what creates the conflict. But this is when the mindset stuff that's out there in the world at the moment misses the point. While people think we don't like uncertainty, that's not true. Human beings love uncertainty. When we're in control of it, when we are setting our own uncertainty. And what does that mean? Well, when we're going and exploring different parts of the world, when we go on holiday to different places, when entrepreneurs say, I don't know how to do this yet, but I'm going to make it happen. Human beings don't like uncertainty, and they love it at the same time. So to say that we just stop ourselves because of lack of knowledge of what's happening, the whole world, everything about our world is unknown to us. Almost everything is unknown to us. But some of it we are happy to explore, and some things that scare us. But this is excessively scary. This mechanism, our survival mechanism, is excessively triggered. And that's the problem. It's not because we haven't got skills and we don't deserve things. It's just that we get in our own way by accident. So, there's a lot of mindset stuff that's out there which is wrong or is only half the story. But we don't want to look at stuff that we don't want to look at because it's painful. And this is what I get with coaches all the time. Coaches don't look at the past. Well, where do you think your thinking comes from? Your thinking comes from your past. So to be honest, any coach that says, I don't look at the past, I only look at the future, is doing you a massive disservice because your thinking comes from your past. Is the thinking that you're using now, which comes from your past, useful or not to get you where you want to go? And if we don't look at the thinking now, you think, well, where does this come from? Well, it comes from what I thought about the past, or a trauma, or a success, or great piece of advice, or lousy piece of advice, or something went really well, so I'm going to do it again, or something that's really bad, and I don't want to do it again. What we do now, and what we create in the future, does come from our past. So any coach that says, I don't look into the past with my clients is an idiot. Excuse me, I'm going to be really direct. Okay, because where does our thinking come from? Our history. So, is your history, past events, good stuff, bad stuff, but especially the bad stuff, triggering off an excessive survival mechanism that's getting in the way of doing what you can do and should do? So don't get caught up in the definition of what a coach does or a coach doesn't do. It's really simple. If you are good at what you do and you're undervaluing yourself, underpricing yourself, you're under-promoting yourself, and boy, this was my one. God, do I underprice? I think I got it fixed now, don't you think? I never used to tell people what I knew because I was worried about what people think, okay? That was my one, so I've done it, promise you. Or under-niching, undervaluing, underpricing, under-promoting, under-niching. If you're under something, you know you're at this level and you're not letting yourself be at this level, that's because you're stopping yourself. It's the easiest thing to turn off if you pluck up courage to deal with it. But when you're doing the surface stuff, good luck, because if you are saying, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or I can't do this because I might fail, or I lose what I get, it means that your vision won't be yours, your goals won't be yours, your tasks won't be yours, and you certainly won't get there. It's a horrible way to live. I've done this for 20 plus years. Dealing with sabotage thinking is what I do. And it's easy to find it when you let yourself. But nobody wants to. Everyone's scared of doing it. But the person who, and this is to finish this off, because I think I've done enough now and let you think about this. Comment below and I'll answer the comments below. People don't want to do the stuff that they really need to do because they think it's a problem, they think it's dangerous, it's painful. But living with it for 20, 30, 40 years is more painful. Undervaluing yourself and not believing yourself is more painful than just a conversation where you dig deep. My client yesterday really pushed back and didn't want to answer the questions. But at the end we got there and they were like, oh, and we found the things that were getting in their way. And here's the important thing. They were all a reaction to somebody else's behavior. So their undervaluing and underpricing problem was not actually their problem. Their problem was created as a reaction to their past, somebody else's stuff. So most people undervalue and don't have confidence in themselves and over-doubt themselves because of a reaction to somebody else's problem. I became the shyest kid in school because a teacher shouted at me for something I hadn't done. And I went into mouse mode for 10 years. And it cost me a fortune in terms of my business until I connected it and dealt with it. It wasn't my problem. I just happened to be on the receiving end of her anger for something I hadn't done. So your past is when you as a kid, teenager, decided this is the best way to deal with this horrible situation or this weird situation. Your upbringing. It's not who you are now, but you brought that thinking with you. And the moment you turn it off, the real you then says, actually, the price of my program is 3 times what I'm charging. And then you then go and sell it to people who need it. And that's what happens. So, hope this has got you thinking. And it's made you, if it's made you uncomfortable, because I'm going to be direct and be honest, then that's your sabotage thinking, fighting back, saying, no, don't do it. But the truth is, this is only thinking. But because we have such powerful emotions attached to this thinking, fear, anger, sadness being the big ones, we think our thinking is real. But one last thing for you. Have you ever tripped over someone's thoughts that they left on the bottom of the stairs? A belief, if we're going to use the jargon. Have you ever fallen over someone's belief that they left in the middle of the road as you're walking along the pavement? Do you know what makes this so easy to change? It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's not a thing. It's a concept. It's a concept of trouble. It's a concept of fear. And what we do is we have a very old evolutionary mechanism that tries to protect your real life. Yeah? To protect you from being eaten by things with big teeth. So everyone quotes that, fight or flight reflex and all the rest of it. When we trigger this accidentally to protect our self-worth, our self-esteem, which is a concept, it's an idea. We use the system that is meant to protect us from being eaten, and we use it to protect a concept. And that is evolution fighting an entrepreneur's drive. Even if you're not an entrepreneur's drive, an entrepreneur, it's still the same thing. So, what is really getting in your way? Because once we get this out of the way, then you can look at, what do I need to do in the plan? What skills do I need? Who do I need to ask to help me? Then you can create a real plan because you've got a real vision and you're not getting in your way anymore. So imagination and fear gets in the way of real results when it doesn't need to. So that's why I say it's evolution versus the entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs win when they don't let this be exaggerated. Evolution wins when we accidentally take this survival mechanism and blow it out of all proportion and we end up living in fear. So, I think that's enough. What do you think? Put the comments in, ask questions, get in touch, say, Stephen, help, I am blowing loads of money and I'm fed up and I'm living in fear and I'm not living the life I could because I have these great skills but I'm not using them. I'm undervaluing them, I'm underpricing them, I'm under-promoting them and under-niching them as well. If you want to change that, give us a shout, but that's up to you. Don't let this accident of evolution get in the way anymore. Anyway, I'm done. Take care, look after yourself, and I will speak to you soon.